now reached the point where we're ready to assemble the walls. So I'm going to do that with the same technique, the glue gun and screw technique. So my pieces are lined up with the metal square and gluing the first joint together. Now, I've sanded the ends a little bit to even them out. And then, now I'm ready to assemble the top part. Oh, here we are. Now the rear wall of level 1 is complete. Notice that it doesn't have a base plate. That's to allow the foot pull-out to slide out and in without interference. Now that the framing for the walls is all assembled with hot glue, I'm going to screw the parts together. I'm doing this by pre-drilling screw holes. Then I insert 2-inch number 6 flathead screws until the head is flush with the surface. Here I'm applying hot glue to the base plate before screwing it in place. Now I'm installing the rear portion of the right wall with 3 1.5-inch number 6 screws. The wall on the right side isn't very strong because of the large door opening. So in order to give more strength to the studs near the door opening, I inserted 2 2.5-inch number 8 screws through the frame from the bottom after having pre-drilled pilot holes. The rear wall doesn't have a base plate, so in order to secure it to the frame, I'm going to drill it right through the frame at about 1/2 inch from the end and as straight as I can. Now I'm gluing the rear wall in place by applying hot glue to the rear studs of the side walls and the bottom of the rear wall studs. Because the rear wall doesn't have a base plate, we have to secure it to the frame in a different way. The solution is to screw the studs to the frame from underneath. Here I'm using 2.5-inch number 6 screws in the holes that I had drilled in advance. I don't need to pre-drill the holes for the base plate. I'm using number 6 1.25-inch screws. Now I'll secure the corner studs together using 1.25 number 6 screws. Now I want to point something out that isn't very evident. Notice that the right wall is lower than the left wall. This was a mistake. There are 3 levels to the camper. Level 1 has fixed walls which are screwed down to the floor. Level 2 consists of the 2 end walls that fold down outward and the 2 side walls that fold down one on top of the other. And level 3 is the hood, which can be raised or lowered. You can see here that the right wall is the lower of the 2. You can see from this drawing that I would have been in trouble if I had stayed with this plan. Luckily, it wasn't too late when I discovered the mistake. I hadn't yet installed the Coroplast siding, so I took the two side walls apart and rebuilt them, making the left one lower and the right one higher. This is the corrected version, the version I stuck with for the project. This shows how the walls fold down when the camper is collapsed. The level 1 left wall is 14 inches high and the right wall 16 inches. On level 2, the walls are 18 and 16 inches respectively, making the total height of the walls 32 inches. It meant that the lateral pullout would have to be 13 inches high instead of 15. This is a drawing of the right wall. You can see that it's composed of two parts separated by the doorway. Now we see the left wall. This one is made of one piece. It has a large opening that has no base plate to allow the lateral pullout to slide out and in. This is a picture I took of the framing of level 1 after I had replaced the two-part floor with a single piece of plywood before putting the Coroplast siding back in place. Most of what I'm showing you is footage that I took as I was building the camper in 2018. In this picture you'll notice the diagonal braces. Later, at the end of my first summer, I decided to take off some weight by removing most of these braces. I kept the short braces of the two narrow sections of the side walls and those of the rear wall level 2 because I figured that the rear wall sections were exposed to stress when raising or lowering the hood. I was able to save about 6 ounces or 200 grams. Not a lot, but those braces were totally unnecessary. The plans reflect this change. The final step in the construction of level 1 is the installation of the Coroplast siding. This shows me cutting the material with a utility knife guided by a metal square. I applied the Coroplast with 1/2 inch No. 5 flathead screws 3 inches apart. So this completes the construction of level 1. If you'd like to know how to obtain the construction plans or to buy one of my sailing books, go to my website www.robertberiault.com.